Yo, welcome back to another Pokemon Scarlet Violet VGC video. I'm your host Jose Rocks, and today we have some really good news that's coming out. So Regulation H, the new format for Scarlet and Violet, has just dropped. It looks like it dropped about yesterday. I saw it around 11 p.m., but it might have dropped earlier that day. But the final season for Regulation G has started. This is going to wrap up our restricted format, right? Was once restricted for each team. And now we have Regulation H. So as you see, as the cover art, there's two non-legendary Pokemon here, right? And that kind of tells you, what's probably going to be, key in the format. And now we take a look. This is the final series, the 8th series of Scarlet and Violet, and the final series of 2024. This removes the ability to use legendary or paradox Pokemon. This is insane. So this is another ban list format. The last time we had a ban list format was Series 6 in Sword and Shield, and that's actually when I first started playing VGC. And Urshifu had just released during that time period, so Urshifu wouldn't have had an opportunity to be banned yet because it wasn't used before that series, right? But things like Incineroar and Whimsicott and like Dragapult were banned, right? And like Lapras, Talonflame, and Urshifu kind of ran that format. But this is really cool. So this is a format with no legendary Pokemon. So Articuno's banned, the bird trio for the Galar region and Cancel region are banned. Of course, Restrictors are banned. The legendary dogs are banned. Regice, Steel, and Rock are banned, which is kind of crazy. Latias twins. What else? The Lake Trio and Heatran. Wow, that's kind of crazy to see. Cress is banned, so the Lake Quartet really is banned. The Swords of Justice. I wonder why these are separated from each other. I guess that's how they appear in the Pokédex. But Landorus is banned along with Tornadus and Thundurus, the Weather Trio. Let's see what else we have banned. Mythical's always banned. Wow, this is getting kind of crazy, man. Zacian is banned, of course, is restricted. Urshifu. Now this is huge. This opens up so many avenues for so many different team opportunities because Urshifu invalidates a lot of strategies and a lot of different Pokemon. This opens the door. The first thing that this screams to me is Paris Song is back. So shout out to Paris VGC, one of my close friends. He's gonna be running the format with Paris Trap, but Urshifu is kind of something that shuts it down because it can go through Protect, right? And now you can kind of Protect stall, and the Paris Trap Song strategies work pretty well when Urshifu's not here. Also, Palafin was completely invalidated as soon as Regulation D started. Palafin was good all the way from Regulation A, B, and C. And as soon as Urshifu came into the game with Water Urshifu, it invalidated it, right? And you wasn't able to use Palafin no more because there was no point because Urshifu was such a better water type that it was no competition for it. It also opens up the door for Dark Urshifu being banned, so that opens up the door for Dondozo. So Dondozo is going to be pretty crazy again in this format because the power level is a lot lower. Of course, it's going to have to deal with like Haze Palafin, Haze Murkrow, and Murkrow see some usage due to Tornadus being banned, but we still have Whimsicott, right? But Whimsicott, you're probably going to see like Charm Whimsicott to deal with that. It's still a lot of ways around Dondozo. Amoonguss clear Smog, so you might see some Steel Terror Dondozo to deal with it. But Urshifu was a huge pain for Dondozo because you can just crit right through the boost guaranteed every time, right? And Meowscarada is probably going to see some usage because if Dondozo doesn't Terror, Meowscarada used to be a good counter for that. Regieleki being banned is kind of crazy because Regieleki also invalidates a lot of mons. If we didn't have the Paradox mons, Regieleki would be really good with it being the fastest Pokemon in the format. But with the Paradox mons, it makes it so Regieleki is outsped by them, like Fluttermane and Iron Bundle and Booster Energy. And they kind of do its job better with Icy Wind than Electro. But if Regieleki was in this format, it would pretty much run it. Regidrago is a big one, right? It's been really good in Scarlet and Violet. Glacier, Spectre are very powerful, non-restricted legendaries. They're really, really strong. Enamorus is huge because this is actually a format that Enamorus could shine in, but of course it goes along with the Weather Trio, so it's the Weather Quartet, and it's also a band along with them, right? I think I think the format would still be okay if the Weather Trio wasn't banned, right? Because just to see Enamorous do something, but then Landers, both Landers variants would, be really dominant, as well as Tornadus and Thunders. So maybe it's a good thing that it's banned, but it's just unfortunate that it's going to be hard to have a format where this can shine because it's always going to be along with the other three that are just so much better than it, right? But Nemorous, I have hope for one day that it's going to have its shine. All the Paradox Mons are banned. Great Tusk was really good in the format before Landers got introduced. So if it was in a format without Landers, it could shine again. But it's already had its heyday in like Series B. I mean, Regulation B and Regulation C, right? So we've already seen what it can do. Fluttermane, this is the first time Fluttermane has been banned since it's been introduced in Regulation B. So it's kind of good to see that we have a format without any more Fluttermane for a while, for about 4 months, unless they continue to ban it. Same with Iron Hands and Iron Bundle. Like, these Pokemon just been so oppressive and a staple in each format that they've been in. And along with the Ruin Pokemon, they completely changed the game when they were introduced, right? So it's kind of good to see, another format without them. And this is unfortunate because this is a format where these three can be really good, especially Okidogi, into like the Incineroar cores that are going to be running around. It would have been really good to see these three, but of course they're legendary, so they get the ban. They get the ban too. Not surprised to see Ogerpon's ban. These will be very powerful. They was in the format a little bit too powerful, right? As well as like Raging Bolt and Iron Crown with Side Spam and Iron Boulder. So Iron Boulder might can thrive in this format too because the power level is lower, but of course it's a legendary, so it gets hit with the Ban Hammer. So this is really cool. So let's take a look at some Pokemon I think are gonna pretty much be running this format, in my opinion. So for starters, Palafin. Palafin, this is a core that you're gonna see right here. Palafin, Incin, and either Rillaboom or Amoonguss. I think for starters, it's probably gonna be Amoonguss. Then it might adapt to like some teams have Rillaboom with this trio, and Amoonguss just offers redirection while Incineroar offers Fake Out, and then Palafin offers power, right? And Palafin is, when Urshifu is not in the game, Palafin can really thrive because it is a really strong Pokemon. Like, look at its stats. Like, it's base 160 attack. The only downside is that it starts as zero form, and then it switches into its hero form, right? But the zero form is easy to play around when you have good things that are pivoting and the power level is lower, so you're not punished as much for switching. So with these two to switch in, like Incineroar is always a good switching into physical attackers. Amoonguss is always a good switching because of its typing in correlation with the water typing, right? Amoonguss is going to resist those grass type attacks and those water type attacks. I mean the electric type attacks that you switch into, right? And Incineroar can just switch in on any like powerful physical attackers, intimidate them, and soak up some damage and switch back out with Citrus Berry, right? So this is going to be a really strong core. So just go ahead and prepare your teams to be able to deal with this. Chi-Yu used to be able to help deal with the Palafin balanced teams, but now that we don't have Chi-Yu, you're going to have to find Chi-Yu, Gyarados, and Amoonguss was like a counter to Palafin balance, right? But now that we don't have those, you're going to have to find some other answers to break this core. I think that Volcarona can be good to break this core if you try to use a similar like Chi-Yu with Quiver Dance. And maybe like to resist Palafin, you might need like a Dragon Terror. So that way, Dragon Terror is safety goggles, right? So Dragon Terror helps you resist the water type attacks that are coming from this and the fire type attacks of this. Knockoff is still annoying, so maybe a water terror may be good for it. So you can just remove Incineroar so it's not annoying for you, and probably go with Terra Blast, Heat Wave, of course. Even I think Grass might be good. I mean, that makes you weak to Incineroar, Flare Blitz, but you can remove Palafin, right? It's kind of tricky because you're gonna want Giga Drain, you're gonna want Quiver Dance, and then you're gonna want Protect. See, Chi-Yu was able to just hit them off for neutral damage with Dark type coverage. I guess you can do the same thing with Bug Buzz, right? So you Quiver Dance up, and then you go for a Bug Buzz. You can deal pretty good damage, but you're just not hitting anything for super effective except Amoonguss. So it's you're gonna have to explore this just a little bit. I think that Volcarona can help you counter this core if you just use it properly with the right teammates. And being able to boost in front of them and not have to worry about Amunga's sleep, and like maybe like a redirection user so you can get around Incineroar's knockoffs so that you can sweep from that point can kind of help you. And of course Intimidate is going to be good. Palafin usually likes to run Clear Amulet, but sometimes it runs Mystic Water. But I assume that it's going to be Clear Amulet with Incineroar in the format. Incineroar being so prominent, you're not going to want to just cycle on your Palafin, right, and just reduce its attack damage, so you have to keep switching. So Clear Amulet is probably going to be the best item on this. Of course, Citrus Berry is going to be really good on this. And then Amunga's Rocky Helmet is really valuable in these formats. When you don't really need the extra bulk because we're not in a restricted format. And you can just chip things down. So this is going to be a really good core. And I think Volcarona can help you counter it. Another core that you're going to see is, of course, Dondozo teams, right? You got to be ready for these teams. Dondozo, Tatsugiri. You're going to need things like Haze. So let's see what Haze users are going to be around to help you deal with this time. Dragonite is funny. Dragonite is also going to be really good in this format. Dragonite gets Haze. Primarina is going to be good in this format and it gets Haze. That's going to be one of your answers. Greninja gets Haze. You'll see the random Toxapex with Haze to just be a Dondozo counter. Politoed gets Haze. Overquill and Rain is going to be really cool. Wait, Overquill plus Pelipper? Like, this can go crazy in the format with the power level lower, and it gets Haze, so it also gives you a Dondozo answer. And Dondozo's running Terra Grass to deal with Amoonguss. Now you hit it with what's this poison type physical attack? Gunk Shot, right? Yeah, Gunk Shot. You hit it with Gunk Shot, right? And now you're able to just deal consistent damage to Dondozo. Super effective damage. So this will be good. I got sidetracked though. Let me look at some more Haze users. I think Murkrow could come back to be able to use Priority Haze. It's really good for it, right? Overcool is going to be able to outspeed Dondozo, so that Haze is going to be good. I think Weezing can be good in this format as well. Just got to find the right partners for it. Muck gets Haze. Chandelier gets Haze. Melodic is going to be good because it's Incineroar and the power level is lower. But yeah, Murkrow is one of the ones I was looking at. Of course, it can use the Focus Sash or Eviolite, and it's going to be really good in this format with the Haze spam. Yeah, Decidueye. It's a lot of Pokemon that are going to be useful now. You're going to see so many different variants, so many teams, and so many different strategies. When the restrictors and legendaries are not in the game, metagames don't really revolve around specific Pokemon as much. They're not as oppressive, I should say. It's still going to revolve around like Dondozo, Palafin, Dragonite, stuff like that, right? Ursaluna Trick Room is something else you got to worry about. But the power level is lower, so you don't have to necessarily hard counter or bring specific counters into these teams that everyone's going to be using. You can just build your team strong the way you want it and build it with answers into like pretty much everything. But Ursaluna hard Trick Room is going to be really strong. I can see a core with this with like Ensign, Frigoraph, Ursaluna. This will be a strong Trick Room core. Of course, you'll have your Sunroom teams with like Hatterene. These teams will never go away when the power level is low, right? So Hatterene, Indeedee, and Torkoal. This is still a really good core that you're gonna have. One other core that we're gonna see a lot is gonna be Tyranitar Sand Team, and now he has two partners, right? You can either go with the old-fashioned Lycanroc, which was pretty dominant in previous formats, all the way up until I think it was still decent in Regulation D, but Regulation C, B, and A, this core was really strong, right? Even I was able to get like top 15 on the rank ladder with that, just using that. It was really strong. But now it gets Excadrill. It wasn't available before. So it gives you just another outlook. Excadrill would be better if Flutter Mane was in the format to just one hit remove it. But Excadrill will still be good in this format. It has to deal with Palafin, so you're probably going to have to run Clear Amulet and Incineroar. And if you want to run this team, you're going to need answers into that counter. So I would say maybe run like a Grass Terror to remove Palafin and resist the water type attacks and ignore Amoonguss Rage Powder. You just got to worry about Incineroar, but you already have ground coverage, right? So you can run something like Terra Blast, Grass, because he doesn't get any grass type attacks, right? So Grass Terra. Of course, you're going to run High Horsepower to deal with Incineroar. You want to have steel type. You may not even need steel type coverage. I don't think there's anything that powerful in this format that's fairy that I can think of. Sylveon maybe, right? So you may not need the steel coverage. In case you don't need the steel coverage, I think Rock Slide Spam is always going to be good. You could go with Brick Break to deal with Grimmsnarl Screens. Grimmsnarl Screens is going to be another archetype that I have to go over, right? And then Grass Terra Blast. Because he doesn't get any grass type attacks, right? So Terra Blast and Protect, of course. Like, this is going to be a good Escadrille set. And this kind of can help you deal with those balanced teams, too. You get around the Mungus, you get around with the Grass Terror, and you get around the Palafin. And then with the ground coverage, you're able to remove Incineroar, right? So this can be a good answer to those balanced cores. And Tyranitar is just naturally really bulky and good with terrestrialization. Next core is going to be Grimmsnarl Screens, like I spoke on. Like Grimmsnarl Screens with Incineroar is going to be really hard to deal with. You're going to have answers into this. Boosting Pokemon that can boost past the screens, just getting to like +4, +5 really quickly are going to be good to help you deal with this. Of course, with something like a Clear Amulet, so Incineroar can't pivot around and reduce you, but this will be a pretty strong screens course. And Grimmsnarl, sorry about that. Grimmsnarl screens are much better in a format where the power level is lower. Screens are a lot more valuable because it just makes things a lot harder to remove. So going down this list, I think Cinderace can come back and be pretty good. Dragapult is going to be something you have to watch out for. This is going to be the fastest thing in the format. And I have a sleeper pick. I saw that Electro now is one of the fastest mons in the format. So I think Hisuian Electro to give you some good answers into Palafin. Even though it's weak, if it hits you for super effective damage with base 80 special attack, it's still going to do some damage, right? Because it has some relatively powerful special type attacks. Like Chloroblast is 150 base power. Of course, you lose half your health, but you can also run Leaf Storm. It gets Volt Switch, which is really good. And the other key thing that it gets is going to be why didn't Electro come up here? Yeah, there it is right there. Electro Web. So this can function similar to like a Regieleki. It's the fastest thing in the format. Of course, it outspeeds Dragapult, but you can't drop Dragapult's speed because of Clear Body. But Electrode is still going to be fast, and if you just need some speed control to help outspeed some things that are on Tailwind that aren't like really calced to outspeed this thing on a timid nature, then and if you think like this is as fast as Calyrex, so they're not calced to outspeed like a Calyrex Shadow on Tailwind, then Electro can outspeed them and Electro Web them and drop their speeds down, right? And with a Focus Sash, it becomes a pretty good speed control mon. Like it has its niche. I think that you're gonna see it around. I don't know how good it's gonna be up front, but I think that because it is good until like Palafin, and Palafin's gonna be like the best Pokemon in this format. It's really good to have it, and the static, of course, to just help you deal, like get paralyzed if you touch it. I don't think Soundproof is gonna be the play. I think static's gonna be the best. Aftermath is pretty cool to like just break through sashes on other teams, to punish them for KO in it, right? Aftermath, they take a lot of damage from it, but I think Static is going to be the more consistent ability. So Corviknight, something I want to look at. Corviknight, Iron Defense, Body Press plus Bulky Tailwind is going to be really good. Not a lot of Bulky Tailwind setters in this format. How can we forget Whimsicott though? Whimsicott, Dragonite. I don't know how Dragonite's going to be ran. I think it's going to... It was still used before... Regulation C when it got Chien-Pao. Normal Terror is still going to be good, but Flying Terror is also be a good Terror for Dragonite. It still has a really high base physical attack, 134. So we'll see. E-Speed Spam is still going to be good for helping like pick off teams. If you have anything to like boost Dragonite's attack, like something like Howl, like Howl Arcanine or something like that, it'll be really good from that point. But let me know what you guys think. Like these are just as a bunch of Pokemon that I think are going to be viable in this format, and a lot of different cores that you're going to see. So let me know with a comment below what you guys think about Regulation H being announced, and if you're excited for it. Do you like banless formats? I love all new formats. Any format where the rules change and different things are banned or not able to be used, so it opens the door for other mons, really makes it more fun for me. So I look forward to enjoying this. I'm going to be building a lot of teams. Some of the teams are going to revolve around some of these cores that I started with right here, because I'm gonna also, of course, make my own variant of each one of these teams, right? But it looks gonna be fun, and if you guys like, competitive teams that you're able to climb the ladder with, then you should subscribe. This is gonna be the channel for you. And once we get started, I'll be putting out rental codes and everything. I'll probably start off with like 5 for the format as soon as it starts, just to get you started, right? I'm gonna probably use pretty much one for each one of these cores. But that's gonna be it for this video. If you like this type of content, like I said, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. All right, deuces.